So let us start the machine learning for image processing class today. Let us continue our discussion on maximum likelihood estimation. In the previous class, we have discussed the parameter estimation for Gaussian likelihood density, especially the mean estimation in the Gaussian likelihood. Okay, in this lecture, let us see estimating the vector of parameters. I am sharing the screen. Hope you are able to see the shared screen now. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did anybody have tried estimating the sigma square or the variance using Amare estimation method? The answer is yes or no. Okay, if anybody have tried, you can tell what is the sigma square you have got by Amare estimation. Okay, otherwise, let us define the parameter, vector parameter. Okay, be say the first parameter be mu. Okay, and second parameter be sigma square. That is, this is theta 1 and theta 2. So here we want to estimate both theta 1 and theta 2 by maximum likelihood estimation method. So what I request is, before I start writing and so on, quickly tell step 1, step 2, step 3 and so on. Okay, if you are clear. Okay, where should I start? Where should I start? Is there any answer? I should get some answer. Can one of you tell? Formulate log likelihood of all samples x1 to xm. Okay, so log likelihood means what? Ln of p of d given theta. Okay, this is what initially to be formulated, correct? So how do I formulate this? Ln of p of d given theta is what here? Pi k equal to 1 to m. Okay, xk given theta. Is this correct or not? And this is essentially equal to summation ln of p of xk given theta. Is this correct? Okay, and what is theta here? What is that I want to estimate? What is theta here? Am I audible or not?
Mean and variance.
Yeah, mean and variance. Okay, so let us expand this before I start estimating, trying to do something for estimating theta. K equal to 1 to m. Ln of what should I write here? Can one of you help me to write this expansion? In 1D, let us write. So let there be one feature. See, you should tell quickly. So if I write before means it's okay. You are just listening to a video. Okay. See here, theta 2 is sigma square. So I want to write in theta 1 and theta 2 the likelihood. So what should I write? What should I write here? Is that correct? Whatever I am writing here.
The square root of theta 2.
Yeah. So I should have a square root of theta 2. Correct. Okay. And then xk. Tell now. What should I write here?
xk minus theta 1 by theta whole by theta 2 whole square.
Theta 2.
The whole
square is only here.
Okay, square is only there. So.
Okay. So this is what I just wrote the likelihood in terms of theta 1, theta 2, which I want to find it out. Okay. So after this, what is the next step? I can expand this anyway. Okay, I can expand this. If I expand this, so minus So minus ln of, okay, theta 2, okay, power half will be there, okay, and m times. So minus m times m by 2 into ln of theta 2. Okay, the first term I have written. I have skipped one term here. You people noticed or not? What is the term I skipped here?
There are whole power m in this.
Yeah, 2 pi whole power m by 2 I have skipped because it's not very, why, is it good enough to skip that or not? So is that correct? Whatever I have written, is this correct? Summation k equal to 1 to m xk minus theta 1 whole square, okay, by theta 2. Oh, so 2 theta 2 I have written. Okay, so now what do you think I will do? What is the next step?
Partial derivative.
Yeah, I have to find theta star, okay, or theta ml. Okay, just instead of writing theta star, I will write theta ml. By what? Or max with respect to theta. Please mute those who are not conveying anything. Okay, arc max theta and L of theta. This is what I want to do. So how do I do this? D by d theta. Now this theta is a vector. Please note that. Okay, and L of theta is equal to 0. Yes or no? So what is the definition for this d by d theta? Can one of you bring the definitions? Dou by dou theta 1. What is the definition for d by d theta?
Dou by dou theta 1 of L of theta plus dou by dou theta 2 of.
Okay, is that a plus will come?
Oh no, sir. Sorry, individual ones. Like each one
Yeah,
of the
d
features
by
separately
d theta.
differentiated.
Yeah, as such is defined as in our previous discussions. Okay, dou by dou theta 2. Okay, so it has two components. Fine. So that's what we will find now, and we will see that actually. See if why do you think I have two components? I have two components. Fine. If I equate this to 0, do you think will I be able to find mu and sigma square or not? Huh?
Yeah, sir. We'll get two equations in
Right.
for.
So the
Yeah.
like differentiation of theta 1 and equating to 0 for L of theta will give me one equation. Differentiating with respect to theta 2 and equating to 0 will give me another equation. Fine. So now what the question for me now is, say if I differentiate with respect to theta 1 and equate to 0, okay, what do you think I will get? So first thing what I will do is dou by, okay, dou theta 1, dou L of theta by dou theta 1, okay, and equating to 0 I will do. This gives what? Can I hear from some other student? This gives what?
Theta 1 will get.
Yeah, we will get theta 1, fine. Give me more specific details. What is theta 1? And what do I get?
Estimated mean.
Yeah,
1 by
estimated
m
mean.
into summation k equal
Right.
to 1 x power.
Yeah. K equal to 1 to m. Is that I will get?
Yes, sir.
Right? Very good. So in fact, if you see here, okay, this term is independent of theta 1. So, and this is anyway independent of both theta 1, theta 2. That's why I have written C here. Okay, well, simplifying. Okay, and this term can be ignored while differentiating with theta 1. Now let us do the differentiation with theta 2. Okay, so yeah, let us do the differentiation with theta 2. So Kana, you do put parallelly. Okay, I will try to do in the next space. Okay, considering this L of theta there. Okay, but you do parallelly and give me the answer. If some of you have done and got the answer, please let me know. I'm just writing here the same thing just for convenience. Okay, now what should I do? Dou L by dou theta 2 I have to. Okay, and then equate to 0. See, in fact, here I can easily, these two mu and sigma square are two different quantities. They are not components exactly of the same quantity. So I am doing them separately and getting solutions. Okay, later we will see when we want to estimate the mean vector in multivariate case. Okay, we don't separate like this. We directly want to do some vector differentiation. Okay, that we will see in the next example. Okay, now somebody can help me in doing this. Okay. So
The xk minus theta 1 square term remains same, that is constant, and only
okay,
differentiating the theta 2 in the denominator
very
will
good.
get the negative sign cancels out and there will be a theta 2 square at the
Very good.
bottom.
Oh, 1 by minus 1 by theta 2 square is what is its differentiation. So I get this. Here is anyway negative sign. Okay, and this equated to 0. Okay, so this gives what? Theta 2 is equal to, I'm directly writing. Okay, you can cancel theta 2 here and there and bring theta 2 here and so on. Okay, after writing all that. Is this correct? Okay, I have started writing subscript. Am I correct or not? So please take
Yes.
everywhere superscripts. I am used to write subscript. So writing again. Okay, so what is this? What is the result I got finally?
It's the variance of the all the samples.
Yeah, it is sample variance. Okay, so the variance I found. So if I write in terms of the actual quantities, it is sigma square is equal to 1 by m mu. Okay, this which mu is this? Mu is itself is not there, right? So then which mu is this? Huh?
Sample mean.
Yeah. So estimated mean. Okay, by ml. Fine. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, so essentially after say if figuring out that if the samples are somewhat distributed close to Gaussian, okay, or if you want to model, okay, any samples, any sample distribution with Gaussian, okay, even if the samples are distributed like this, okay, if you want to model this with Gaussian, then what we have seen, see, this also can be modeled with Gaussian. So it may not be an appropriate fit, but we can fit it. Okay, so what we have seen is this model, whenever we want to model any class likelihood, okay, this is what is class likelihood, p of, okay, xk given whatever omega, okay, is this, but we model this with this. Okay, we have approximated with this, what, normal of, okay, with some mean and variance. Okay, so we approximated with this. So when we approximate with a Gaussian, equivalent Gaussian or fit a Gaussian, what we have seen is the mu of this Gaussian, which we are fitting, it is the sample mean. Okay, and the variance of this Gaussian, closest Gaussian fit to the samples. Okay, if you want to model with Gaussian, is the sample variance. Correct? So is this clear? Is this discussion clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So in some cases, they may be close to Gaussian. In some cases, they may not be close to Gaussian. But nevertheless, if we decided to like fit to a Gaussian density, okay, then the best fit of the Gaussian density or the with the parameters of the Gaussian density with best fit has mean equal to sample mean, variance equal to sample variance. Okay, is this clear? Okay, so what I would suggest is you take exactly on the similar lines. Okay, find out the parameters of other likelihoods. Okay, say assume that P of x given anyway some omega is equal to, you take one dimension like example or only one feature dimension. Okay, and let it be exponential 1 by lambda e power minus lambda into mod x. Okay, so exponential density, and try to find out what is best parameter for lambda. Best given a set of samples xk. Okay, what do you feel is what the ML estimation gives as the best best parameter lambda given this in the terms of the samples. Okay, calculated from the samples. Okay, so this is one example you do. So you can do similarly maybe few other examples. You can consider Rayleigh distribution where it's only one-sided. Okay, other sided it is 0. Or one-sided exponential also you can consider. Okay, many such examples you can do. X given omega again is the second example where 1 by you can see I think 2 by lambda it may be. Okay, just check lambda times x for x greater than 0 and 0 else. Okay, for this, what is the estimate of x? What is the estimate of lambda hat? Okay, ML estimate of lambda you get. You can take these examples and check yourself. Okay, so now let us move on to discussion on multivariate case. See, let the samples now x1, x2, m samples again. Okay, each of them is in d dimensions. Okay, so it is d-dimensional, all are d-dimensional samples, and we want to estimate the mean and covariance matrix in this case. Okay, first we will try to estimate the mean vector for the corresponding Gaussian fit or the likelihood, okay, that with Gaussian approximation, multivariate Gaussian approximation. So assume that for simplifying our discussion and problem, let covariance matrix be given, is given. Okay, assume that this is given. What we need to find is find mu hat by maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, so we are initially given the samples. Fine, given the samples, and we can assume that the likelihood is Gaussian distributed. Multivariate Gaussian. Or normal. Okay, let sigma is also given. Find the mu hat or mu vector by maximal likelihood estimation. Okay, is the problem clear? Is the discussion clear? Is it
Yes,
clear
sir.
or not? Yes. So where should we start now for this problem? Where should I start? Yeah, need some answer. Same steps we have to do. That is the elegance of maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, formulate log likelihood of what? All samples. Okay, so what is that log likelihood of all samples? What is theta here? First of all, theta here is,
Mu
what is
and
theta?
like it's a two-dimensional matrix. Mu.
Is it two-dimensional matrix? This is only the like parameter to be estimated. Okay, so sigma is given, covariance matrix is given. So if sigma is not given, it is a two-dimensional matrix sigma. Okay, and then theta is anyway one-dimensional. So both put together you have to estimate. Okay, so here this is only the to be estimated. So theta is a vector of like mean variable. Okay, so mu1 to mu t. Is this clear? So now I have to formulate the log likelihood of all samples. Okay, so what should I do? So what is here? I just want to do the expansion.
Max of mu bar we can write.
Yeah, ln of pi k equal to 1 to m. Same thing we will write here. P of xk given d or theta here. Okay, and then theta is a vector. Please note that. Okay, theta is a vector. Okay, and xk anyway superscript xk because these are all samples. Okay, now this is again okay summation ln of p of xk given theta k equal to 1 to yeah. Okay, so now with this what I do? What is the next step? I have written the log likelihood here. Okay, what is the next step? Can one of you tell? What should be the next step?
We have to expand and then separate.
Yeah, so let us write first p of xk given theta because it's multivariate case. Okay, let us write this. In fact, ln of p of given theta itself we can write. Okay, so you want us to write directly ln, so let us write with ln. Oh, we will expand in the next step. Ln of what is p of x given theta? 1 by
2 pi whole power d by 2.
yeah.
Root over that sigma.
Okay, xk minus.
Theta bar whole
So
power.
in fact, see, I am writing here, so it is looks very evident. But when I usually ask you people to write in class, okay, and ask you to solve this, I see that most of the students wonder, okay, what to put here. Okay, they will put x itself. They don't put xk at all. Okay, they will put say here also what to put will not be all the time clear. So those aspects you should be clear. Okay, so I'm just doing it now. Okay, it's not like whichever is the parameter here, okay, has to come, say mean parameter has to come here. Okay, the xk parameter has to xk, whichever is here has to come here. Okay, so based on this and this may happen or may be there or only this may be there based on the definition of theta. Okay, so what should I do now next? Xk minus theta transpose sigma inverse Sk minus theta. Okay, you remember this?
Yes, sir.
And what is the numerator called? Numerator alone, if I just want to describe with something, what is this called?
Mahalanobis distance.
Yeah, it's the Mahalanobis distance. Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, this is transpose. Okay, so now let us see what we want to do is we want to expand anyway ln. Okay, while expanding ln, what I will do is see anyway I know that I want to differentiate with respect later. Okay, what I want to do, I want to find parameter mu. So I will be differentiating with respect to what?
Theta bar.
I will be differentiating only with respect to mu bar, vector mu. So covariance matrix is anyway constant. So I don't pay much attention to that. Okay, in writing this, I will write C, okay, minus half. I am not very much bothered about what this is first term. Okay, if I want to differentiate with covariance matrix and so on, I will be bothered, like writing that more explicitly. Okay, C minus xk minus theta whole transpose, okay, into sigma inverse. Here I will write, okay, because, okay, I can't leave this covariance matrix, okay, xk minus theta. Now this is in between the thetas. Okay, so now is this clear or not? ln of p of xk given theta I have written. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will give you 2 minutes time. Okay, request you to substitute now and differentiate with respect to theta bar. Okay, and give me the answer for what may be the ML estimate of theta bar. Okay, put it in the expression L of theta. Okay, differentiate it and quickly get back to me. I will be slowly writing. Okay, but I would like to hear at least 1 or 2 answers before me. So, what should I do now? Should I expand this differentiation into theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 and so on, do individually or do together?
Sir,
Huh?
actually, if we can say that d of xk minus theta bar is equal to d theta bar, then this whole can be taken like the differentiation of x transpose mx, where we got m plus m transpose into
Right.
x.
Very good. Very good. Correct. 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 That's what I have to do. Okay. So I should not like take individual terms because all are of same quantity. So dou theta by dou theta bar I am doing. Oh, this can be written as some of you said, okay, into x transpose mx form and write the answer. Very good. So you use it and give me the answer. The first term is 0. I'm just leaving it. See, for writing x transpose mx form, is the sigma is there, right? So what should I do with the sigma? Should I bother with the sigma or what should I do with the sigma?
We can take the differential inside the sigma.
Right, because?
Theta is not changing throughout the sigma. So.
Okay, that's okay. Furthermore, sigma is differentiation is a linear operator. Okay, so you can take inside. Okay. So what is the answer now?
Sigma summation sigma inverse plus sigma inverse whole transpose into xk minus theta bar.
Yeah. So sigma inverse. What is differentiation? I will write it in brackets. Dou by dou theta. Okay. Dou by dou x of. Okay. Dou by dou x of. what we had, X transpose Mx, right? Mx is equal to what? What is our answer at that time?
M plus
M
M.
plus M transpose into X, correct? If M is symmetric, then this is 2mx, correct or not? No?
Yes.
So here, is the sigma inverse symmetric or not?
Symmetric, sir.
Yeah, sigma inverse is symmetric. Okay, so we can use the second relation. That is one aspect. So 2 times I have brought now. So let me write, so 2 times into sigma inverse. Okay, so 2 times M inverse M into X. X is here what? So whole thing, xk minus theta, I am writing. Is this correct? Whatever I have written, is this correct or not? Is equal to 0. Is this correct or not? So now I want to simplify this. I want a simplified answer. So what is, who will help me to simplify this?
K equals to sigma k equals to 1 to m. Xk minus theta is 0. Basically.
Okay,
Summation
so
of
how
xk
can I
minus
write
theta
that
over
next
k
step?
equals to 1.
Say
So-
you are saying that sigma inverse can be knocked off, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how is it possible?
Because sigma inverse is not 0.
Sigma inverse is not 0, and I will pre-multiply, okay,
Yes, sir.
with sigma inverse both sides. Okay, I
Sigma
can't,
actually.
yeah, take this
Pre-multiply
to
by
the other
sigma.
side, but I can pre-multiply both sides with sigma inverse.
So sigma.
No, sorry, sigma, right. Okay, reduce the summation of k equal to 1 to m. So negative sign and all can be knocked off. Xk minus theta is equal to 0. This implies theta bar is equal to what? 1 by m times. Okay, summation. Let me write with other color. Theta bar is equal to 1 by m times summation xk minus xk, k equal to 1 to m, right? So what essentially is this ML estimate of mean?
Just a vectorized mean of samples.
That's all. Okay, there's vectorized sample mean of the samples. Okay, fine. So that's what I got. Okay, so now is this derivation clear? Okay, so assume that this is clear. Okay, then you should be able to solve even some problems of this sort. So even if I ask for estimate of parameters in multivariate densities, okay, other than Gaussian density. Okay, so if I give you some density and ask you to do, you should be able to do it. Okay, let us see for covariance matrix, what do you think will happen? Do you think I can easily do differentiation and apply this for finding the covariance matrix by ML estimation? I just want your guess. If I want to apply the same for covariance matrix estimation, okay, what is the complexity involved?
Sir, we have determinant and covariance matrix inverse in the
Yeah. So we have to differentiate the determinant of covariance matrix with the covariance matrix elements. Okay. And we should, the matrix inverse has to be differentiated with, again, matrix inverse has to be differentiated with covariance matrix. So matrix to matrix differentiation. Okay. And a scalar function of all elements to matrix differentiation. We have defined vector to vector differentiation. So far, we have not discussed about, say, either scalar to matrix differentiation or a matrix to matrix differentiation. Correct? So we have not discussed it, and it is not easy at all. It is reasonably tedious. Okay. So one simple check is the definition wise, if the things are quite simple. Okay. So scalar to matrix differentiation is easy to define. Dou by dou m, if I want to define, if m is a matrix. Okay. Dou by dou, okay, m11. And then dou by dou m 1n, for example. Okay. And then dou by dou m d1. Okay. And then dou by dou m dn. Okay. We can define like this. Okay. Dou by dou m, if m is a matrix, we can define if m is a d cross n matrix. Okay. Then we can define like this. And because what essentially we want the variability of each element, okay, with respect to the variability of the function with respect to each element of the matrix. That's what we need. Okay, so this we can do it easily if the f of say m, for example, is a scalar. Okay, scalar is a scalar. Okay, if finally this function returns a scalar. Okay, if it is a scalar valued function, then you can do this easily. Okay, however, if it is matrix to matrix and so on, it is reasonably involved. So in fact, you will get not even two-dimensional answer. It is in terms of tensors you will get. So more than 2 dimensions, they are referred to as the vectors. In 1 dimension, they are vectors. In 2 dimensions, they are matrices. More than 2 dimensions, they are referred to as tensors. Okay, so you will get a tensor result. So it is not very easy to, so there will be 3 variables. Okay, with respect to write that you have to write the answer. So it is not very straightforward. So the procedure for doing that is not as easy as that, and people don't follow this procedure. Okay, and there are some simplified procedures. What they do is, so they use some algebraic identities. Okay, so writing this in terms of some algebraic identities, reorganizing this. Okay, they also use some covariance matrix can be split into eigenvalues, eigenvectors. Okay, different optimize this optimization with respect to matrix. They translate to optimizing to eigenvalues and then do it. Okay, so that I am not discussing here. Probably in some of the written assignment, I will pass it on to you. Those who are interested, in fact, it is good to see them and find the covariance matrix ML estimate. Okay, so but what do you think will expect the covariance matrix ML estimate will be? What do you think it may turn up to be? I just want to write by directly. I want to write here and convey it.
It may be the vectorized form of what we got earlier in the 1D case.
Right. So, but here it is, since it is a covariance matrix, I have to get a matrix. So it is sample covariance. That's all. Okay. Becomes sample covariance. So how do I write sample covariance? Can you complete what I have written here? Xk minus mu into, or Xk minus, what should I write here?
Xk minus mu transpose.
Right. Okay, so outer product. Right. So this is what it turns out to be. Okay, so we have not done it, but you can directly take it. Okay. Right. So this is regarding the maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, but in real cases, what may happen is, as we said, we have the samples x1 to xn, and we assumed here a log likelihood. Okay, so and then we started all this discussion of maximum likelihood estimation. We have assumed a mathematical form for this, and we then started on to this discussion. In some real cases, we even are like, there is no mathematical density that comes close to this. In that case, there are some methods. Okay, like we have seen the there are some methods which will enable us to directly write P of x given omega I. Okay, so can you guess any of the method that you know of for doing that? If I directly don't want to make any assumption, okay, and I want to directly capture P of x. Or do you
Histogram,
have, do you know any of the approach for doing that?
we can draw the histogram and see, sir.
Right. We can use the histogram values itself. Okay. So it can be a numerical method. Okay. Bringing the directly the values and doing it. Or there are some methods which will estimate the density of samples. For example, if the samples, if I see if the samples are in 2 dimensions, assume that the samples are like this. Okay, irrespective, these can be any one class samples. I am not interested in which class samples they are, but these are all samples. Okay, spread out with respect to, okay, x1 here and x2 here. Okay, 2 dimensions. Okay, now what I want to do is, these are all the given samples. There may be some, say, 100 samples or thousands of samples given. What I'm interested is to estimate P of x1 comma x2 given omega I. So because these are from some omega class. Okay, or P of x given omega. I just want to find the likelihood again. Okay, this I want to find out. Okay, so given these samples, can you suggest any method other than, anyway, histogram is a one method to find out, but the histogram, you need large number of samples to approximate realistically the log likelihood with histogram. Okay, so there has to be simple or like some methods which will enable us to estimate, like reasonably approximate this with even lesser number of samples. Can you guess what maybe the procedure, other ways of doing it? I will not give the method here, but I will just name them and leave. Oh, so any guesses here? If I want to do it now, estimate here using without assuming any mathematical or parametric form. What should I do? It is close to histogram. Okay, but what I do? I take, say, different regions in this. Okay, and I will put a window, okay, at each of the regions. And then in that window, what do I do? To find out, see what I want to do, see what does P of x given or P of x indicate? P of x1 comma x2 indicates what? Given omega, let's leave it. Indicates what? I need some answer. What does P of x1 comma x2 indicate? Are you people there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is this P of x1 comma x2?
Features probably.
Yeah, probability of features. Is it the probability of features?
Contour, sir.
Okay, is it contours? See, the context you missed, I think, again. Okay, so assume that, okay, this is a different aspect. So we have some samples. Okay, so each sample x1, x2, 2 dimensions. Okay, xk sample. And you have some samples like x1, x2, and so on m samples. And all m samples are belonging to what? Belonging to some same class. Okay, D. So some same class. These samples are given to us. And what is our aim? To find out the likelihood density of this. Okay, this class. This class means given these samples. Given this, given, okay, samples, find, okay, P of x given omega. I'm dropping this omega because the only specific class I'm considering when I want to find out the likelihood of that class. Essentially, I want to find the likelihood, but okay, I have written P of x1 comma x2 because it's a, anyway, likelihood is also a density. Okay, so now tell me, what does P of x1 comma x2 indicate verbally? I need some answer.
Sir, it is the PDF at that given x1, x2.
Right, PDF of what? It is PDF of
Sir,
Of the
encountering that
distribution
x1,
followed.
x2.
right? Having that x1 of x2 within the among the samples of that class. Okay, indicate the density of samples of that class. Correct? Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It indicates the PDF. In terms of PDF, when I call it is PDF of x1 comma x2. Okay, because at that features, what is the probability that the samples occur? See, if I see in this first, okay, let this be first. Okay, I will write here first. Okay, and let this be 2 and let this be 3. Okay, in first region, what is the probability that the sample occur based on the data that is given? It is the first region. Okay, first small region. What is the probability that the samples occur? You are able to see this or not?
0, sir.
Oh, it is 0, right? In the second region, it is say 1 by some total number of samples. In the third region, what is that?
3 by total.
Yeah. So like that, it is essentially the histogram only. But this is referred to as density. Say these are referred to as density estimation methods. See, for histogram, we usually we consider it as trivial. We take one dimension, bin them, and so on. Here, instead of taking say rectangular windows for counting the number of samples, okay, I can take circular windows. Who obstructs me to do that? Okay, to count the number of samples within that. So essentially, I am finding the number of samples or the count of samples or frequency of samples in the given x1, x2 location, around the given x1, x2 location. Okay, because it's continuous variables. Fine. But counting procedure can be different by taking either squares or by taking circles or by taking Gaussian window itself around a region where I want to find the density of samples. Okay. So for this, so far what we have used for estimating the parameters of likelihood are referred to as parametric methods. Okay. So these are all ML estimation is parametric method. So, but whereas now whichever the method I am discussing here, that is referred to as what? Is referred to as what? Non-parametric method. Is this clear or not? ML estimation is a parametric method. Okay. Because we are estimating parameters of likelihood. Okay, we first parameterize the likelihood because there are 2 steps involved. Okay, first parameterize the likelihood. Okay, and estimate them. By here maximum likelihood. Okay, whereas here it is, this is referred to as non-parametric method. So you people are there or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, these are referred to as density estimation methods. And these are non-parametric methods. Okay, so the likelihood is estimated by density estimation. So estimate likelihood by density estimation. This is referred to as non-parametric method. Because can one of you tell the difference? Why we call non-parametric method? Can any of you give the answer?
We are not using any parameters like mean and variance.
Right. No, so we are not parameterizing this by some mean and variance. Okay, no mathematical distribution at all is used. Okay, directly we are trying to get the likelihood. How are we getting? By finding out the density in different regions. Okay, let it be in some different regions. Okay, so the way we find out the density in that region can be based on the local window. Okay, counting the number of samples or frequency of samples in the local window. Okay, but the window shape can be either a rectangular, circular, or Gaussian. Gaussian means what? Whichever, or say I give, say if the samples, if I am considering a window around the sample, I give more importance to the sample. Okay, I will count the sample as one sample, assume that. I will count these samples as, okay, 0.1 samples. Okay, because Gaussian will extend and these samples are counted as zeros. Okay, so is that clear? Is the discussion clear here on the density estimation methods or non-parametric methods? Okay, so these methods in fact are important. Okay, but in some of the there are two methods specifically to do this. One is by Pargin window, where in this window, as I said, can have arbitrary shape. Other is by using nearest neighbor estimator method. Okay, wherein you enclose specific number of samples. See, in that case, what you do is you try to say, if I want to find out density here, I will grow the window till I capture 3. Okay, 3 nearest neighbor means I capture up to 3 samples. If I put the window here, I will grow the window till I capture 3 samples. Then the area averaged value will be given as the density. Okay, so if I want to count the three nearest neighbor estimator here, I will grow the window up to okay somewhat here, so that the area averaged value will be very low here. Okay, so based on that, so we have two different methods for density estimation. So in this course, we are not discussing these things in more detail. Okay, but however, these are also of reasonable interest in the community. So there are two density estimation methods. One is Pargin windows. And second is nearest neighbor estimator. Okay, in this case, the window size is fixed. Okay, in this case, window size is modified or extended based on the number of samples it captures. So the number of samples it captures is fixed. Okay. So on this, I will not be asking any mathematical questions, but on the understanding aspect, okay, I may ask a few small questions. Okay. So I will stop here. Okay. So let us resume the discussion in the next class. I request you people to ask specifically the questions on this in the next class. Okay. I will clarify your doubts on this. Okay. Density estimation or non-parametric methods. Okay. For likelihood estimation. And then subsequently move on to another parametric method for density estimation, that is maximum a posteriori based parametric estimation. Okay, and subsequently I will discuss on the image feature extraction using some of the image processing aspects. How do we extract better features? Okay, for classifiers. And then I will start on the neural networks discussion. Okay, subsequently convolution neural networks and some of the methods there, and few other clustering methods and classification methods. Okay, thank you. So if you have any questions, you can ask quick questions. Others can leave. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in the example which we solved for the parametric method, we gave for simplification, we took the covariance matrix as given. Here we said that the inverse, the inverse exists, right?
Right. We assume that it is there, it exists. Then only we are going ahead. Correct.
But why should it be symmetric, sir? It sounded like
Yeah. See. Yeah. This covariance matrix usually is say sample covariance. Okay. Sample covariance when I find the expression itself, as you have seen here. Okay. So this is the expression. This results in symmetric sigma. If you apply this expression, you just check with two vectors outer product. Okay, so it and sum of over any number of outer products. This results in symmetric covariance matrix, especially for real samples.
okay, sir. Right, sir.
If the samples are real, and in fact, even for non-real samples, I think it will be conjugate symmetric.
Okay.
This based on this, it becomes symmetric.
Right, sir.
If even if otherwise, we can easily write this, right? So we can, in that case also, we can write this sigma easily, right? Extend it to that case as well, but it's not necessary.
Yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Okay, so we will revisit this non-parametric techniques if you have any doubts. Okay, in the next class. Okay, and then we will move on to maximum a posteriori estimation and subsequently to neural networks. Okay, thank you then. Bye.